We are live, and I'm going to be honest with you. I actually told the team earlier I wasn't feeling well because this show really impacts so many people, and it is important for us to have this conversation today, and we're having it live. Here's the deal. Imagine visiting your doctor. You are terrified, you're in pain, you're tired to the point you can barely get out of bed, only to leave that doctor's appointment feeling dismissed, being told it's in your head. It's called medical gaslighting, and for women especially, it is an epidemic, and the consequences could be deadly. Over the past few years, it's a topic which is all over social media. Look up the hashtag medical gaslighting after the show, not right now because we're talking. 300 million views on TikTok alone. We've been talking about this season after season. In fact, we have had on this show somewhere around 900 episodes. One of our highest rated ever was medical gaslighting. Wow. So many women, so many people reached out to us after this season 3. This beautiful woman here had a leakage coming from her brain. Doctors told her it was all in her head. We've had a beautiful woman on our show who texted her doctor after taking an at-home test to see if she had colon cancer. He replied with a smiley face and told her it was okay. She was diagnosed with cancer. This is an intense show, and Sharon Stone, Halle Berry, Selma Blair are all people revealing how they felt gaslit by doctors. They, you might say, are wealthy, they are famous, they have access, but they all say they experience the same thing. Doctors not listening. Our first guest is the latest to speak out publicly about her story. New York Times bestselling author, People's Choice nominated podcaster, 3-time Emmy-winning host of E! News, Keltie Knight says medical gaslighting kept her suffering in silence for almost a decade of her life. Take a look. For the past 2 decades, Keltie Knight has interviewed some of the biggest stars in the world, covering everything from the Oscars to the Grammys, then hosting her Lady Gang podcast.
I mean, she was fierce. Thank you. You know what I mean?
Earlier this year, Keltie Knight's career reached new heights when she landed her dream job of co-hosting E! News.
Welcome to E! News. I'm Keltie Knight.
In front of the camera, Keltie's vibrant personality was on display, but behind the scenes, she was dealing with what she calls mind-numbing fatigue, dizziness, blurry vision, hair loss, aching joints, and debilitating menstrual cycles.
Usually when something is shiny and fabulous behind the scenes, there's usually something else going on.
For 10 years, Keltie saw doctor after doctor, 15 in total, trying to get answers. She was told she was just working too hard and was even misdiagnosed.
We get gaslit by medical people, and they're like, oh, it's chronic fatigue syndrome. I would still be just nowhere closer to health if I had believed that.
Last year, Keltie finally got a diagnosis.
I suffer from a chronic condition called microcyclic anemia.
2 weeks into her new role at E! News came the shocking announcement live on air.
I found out last month that I will need to undergo a hysterectomy tomorrow. And as a woman, it is so critical for me to share this with all of you.
Keltie had her hysterectomy March 19th, and she's documented every step of the journey.
I'm 3 weeks post-op from a hysterectomy, and I feel absolutely terrible.
Honestly, this hysterectomy has made me very emotional. I could cry right now. I'm so happy. Anyway, I feel happy and sad, and I have empathy, and I'm just like, it's just like, kumbaya.
Her mission is to draw attention to medical gaslighting and to encourage other women to advocate for their own health. Keltie joins us from Los Angeles. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I have to tell the audience, we don't do a lot of Zooms. I like for our guests to be in the room with us, but this was so important, and I know you have to work and you're in Los Angeles. I said to the team, whatever way we can get her on, let's get her on. This started our conversation. I was in L.A. Promoting the show. We learned on your show that we were nominated for 2 Emmys for host and the show. We're like, you know, we were in this celebratory mood. And then in the commercial break, you said, Tamron, I've been on this medical journey. And at, how old are you now?
42.
42. I've had a hysterectomy, and we just started talking. You've been so open. What's driving you to be so open about this?
I think it's people like you who empower women to tell their stories even when they're hard. I've always looked up to you, Tamron. Obviously, I'm part of the Tam fam, but knowing that I have learned so much over the past 10 years and wanting all women to understand that they're not crazy, that they're not liars, that their symptoms are real, and they have to keep fighting for their health until they find help. That is my mission.
Yes. Going back to your condition, I mean, to your point, so many women, especially, are told it's in your head. You were losing your hair. You started developing welts on your body. You couldn't walk upstairs. You couldn't read the teleprompter. There's no way that's in your head. But doctors made you feel that way.
Every time I went to the doctor, Tamron, I knew that I couldn't see the teleprompter at work. I was memorizing my scripts before I went out there. And every time I went to the doctor, I would get the same thoughts. Well, are you eating enough vegetables? Well, are you drinking enough water? Oh, well, you know, you just work too hard. Maybe if you meditate more, you will feel better. And it really felt like it was my fault, and I took that to heart. I was like, oh, well, this is my fault, because you're right. I had a latte this morning instead of a green juice. So obviously, this rash I have over 75% of my body is something I did to myself. And then I felt shame that, oh my God, I'm so bad at being a woman that I'm hurting myself. And I tried so hard to fix these things that they were saying. I was drinking water, I was drinking the green juice. Nothing helped. So I felt crazy.
And you went to 15 doctors, and keep in mind, each doctor you go to asks who you saw before. So if they are skeptical, when you say, I've been to 6 doctors, they're going, oh, one of those. One of those. You've been to so many doctors, you're not getting the answer you want, so you keep looking for doctors versus, what are you missing? And I'm so sensitive about this story because I hosted for 2 years big events involving women diagnosed with lupus. And that's one of those illnesses that often you are told it's in your head, it's nothing there. With this anemia that you have, imagine you'd never heard of it. Once you get the diagnosis, what does that mentally feel like for the weight of that?
I mean, I just was so desperate that I had said to my girlfriend, I cannot get out of bed. What is wrong with me? And she said, you know, there's this kind of hoobie-jooby guy that a lot of the Malibu Hollywood stars go to. Try him. And I was
she
like,
said
okay,
it like
well,
that, Kelsey, a hoobie-jooby guy?
Yeah, like you were like, you know, it's like, this is going to be a little weird, you know. And I said, okay. And I went, and the blood work panel was like 60 pages. I'd never seen something so thorough before. And when I went for my follow-up, he looked me in the eye and he said, you are very unwell. I will make you well. It's going to take a year. And I just started bawling. It was the first time a doctor had looked me in the eye and said, you are valid in feeling this way. And that is when we started the process of doing the work, getting to the bottom of this, because there's a really interesting sort of backstory that's a little intense with what I have, but I have this type of anemia, and the thing when you see anemia on blood work, what doctors do is they throw iron pills at you. What we didn't realize is that I am highly allergic to bovine, which is what is in iron pills. So I'm eating the iron pills, trying to get my iron up every day, and then I am completely blowing out my body with this high inflammation from being allergic to the thing that I'm taking every day. I was poisoning myself.
Wow, coming up more.
And a doctor told me to take those.
Coming up more on how the one doctor got it right. And we're talking with a specialist about this type of anemia that is an eye-opener for so many. We'll be right back with Kelsey and more stories that I'm sure relate to you or somebody you know. Medical gaslighting after the break.
Our Southwest flight to stay an extra day. Didn't have to pay a fee.
Beautiful. Our kids won't miss us. They're with Mima. Mima. We're in love! Again!
Change your flight without a fee. That's a big flex.
And when I see these pots, I'm a gardener. A gardener.
Jesse loves playing detective.
But the real mystery was your irritated skin. So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle. It cleans better and doesn't leave behind irritating residues.
And it's gentle on her skin.
Tide Free and Gentle Liquid is EPA's Safer Choice certified. It's got to be Tide.
Car accident? Berg wins. When a totaled car is making you totally crazy,
Berg wins.
When going to the hospital means going broke, Berg wins.
When the insurance company only offered you this, but you really deserve this.
Berg wins. They've taken bad insurance offers and turned them into 6- and 7-figure settlements.
Berg wins.
I'm William Berg. If you don't win, you pay nothing. That's our no-fee guarantee.
Berg wins. Call 1-800-400-BERG.
Nature's Own is never made with any artificial flavors or preservatives.
This one's just right.
So every bite is just right.
If you keep feeding her like this, she'll never leave.
Nature's Own. Goodness is in our nature.
I'm attorney Yelena Tiemann. If you've been injured in an accident, the right lawyer can make a difference. That is why we fight so hard for our clients, and we have a proven track record of winning. Call us at 916-999-9000. The team in law firm can help.
Welcome back. We are having a conversation today about medical gaslighting, and it impacts, if not you, certainly someone you know. Still with us is my friend, Emmy-winning E! News host, Kelty Knight. She joins us from Los Angeles. Also in studio is a doctor who not only helps treat the type of anemia that Kelty was diagnosed with, she has experienced herself medical gaslighting as a physician. Dr. Shika Jain treats anemia, is here with us as well. Thank you so much for joining us. Kelty, I do want to pick up on the fact that here you are in your 40s, you've undergone the hysterectomy, you are recovering, but the emotional weight of feeling that your humanity was taken away, and also the impact as a woman of this hysterectomy. I know that there are a lot of tears involved, and I know that that's a part of what you've wanted to share with people.
I think this was one of the most difficult things I've ever done in my life. And what made it so difficult is, again, as women, we are shamed into secrecy. So when I kind of announced to the world, I have to have this hysterectomy, I was very surprised by the amount of people in my own circle and the world that were like, I had the same thing. Here's the pillow you need. Here's what it's going to be like. Here's what it's going to be like to have sex after the, your hysterectomy for the first time. Like, I had no idea that I wasn't so alone in this. Wow. And so that's another reason why I want to talk about it. But yes, it was, Sharon Stone actually is a friend of mine. I know you mentioned her earlier in the show. She told me this is going to be an emotional bomb, and you have no idea what's coming, and it was, for sure.
Wow. Dr. Jain, I mean, here you are a physician, a celebrated physician, and you have experienced gaslighting as well. What is at the heart of this?
I think there's a lot that's at the heart of it. Sometimes doctors don't have enough time to talk to you. Sometimes they don't understand that these vague symptoms that you're having could be due to something. I mean, what Kelty experienced is very common among so many women who come in. They're tired, they're feeling, just run down. They might be complaining of feeling dizzy, and people just say, oh, you've got a busy job, you're not sleeping enough, drink more water, you're emotional.
You're emotional, yeah.
And this is historically the way things have been for years. I mean, back in the olden days, women used to be diagnosed with hysteria. Yeah. And that is still very common today.
What happened with you personally?
So with me, I was pregnant, and I was I'm not going to name a hospital, but I was in a hospital, and I was very ill, and I knew I did not need more IV fluids. And I kept saying, I don't need fluids. My blood pressure is normally this level. I don't need this. I don't need this. And they wouldn't listen. And eventually, my mom was with me. My mom was like, you need to say something. And I said, but I am. But nobody believed me, despite the fact I was a physician, and I ended up with complications, and exactly what I was saying was the problem. And I was furious, and then my mom said, you should have called your dad. And I said, because he's also a physician. Right. And I said, but why won't they listen to me when it's my body?
Right. It's true. You know, I laugh because it reminds me when I went to buy my first car. I'm hiding in the car, and my dad went in because the guy was going to listen to my dad and not me. And now you're sitting, your mom is saying, listen to your dad. This type of anemia that Kelty was diagnosed with, tell me more, because honestly, prior to our conversation, I didn't know the staggering number of women diagnosed with a similar thing.
So many women have it. So microcytic means small cells. Anemia means less number of blood cells. And the microcytic anemia that we're describing means you've got a low amount of hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is something that takes oxygen to the rest of the body, kind of like an Uber. So it's attached to your red blood cells, and it takes oxygen, and it's what helps you, your organs function. When you don't have enough oxygen being distributed, you can get dizzy, you can get problems with brain function, you can get bruising, you can end up so tired that you can't function at all. And so it can be really severe, and women especially experience it at higher rates than men because we lose blood every month. And some women have disorders where they lose even more blood than an average. And then if you can't keep up with the amount of blood that you're losing, you end up with an iron deficiency anemia or a microcytic anemia where the cells are small and you've got less red blood cells. So your heart's pumping faster, you can get short of breath because your heart is working harder than it needs to be working just to pump blood to the rest of your organs.
I know Kelty had a complete blood panel. I go in every year for my, exams or whatever, and I ask for a blood panel, but it seems like there are levels of blood panels, which I didn't know. I'm like, give me the basic. But apparently, asking for blood work is no longer enough, which I always thought was enough.
Well, blood work is such
look at Kelty's file. The file. Right.
There's so many different kinds of blood tests, and the one test I tell all women, if you're feeling tired or having bruises, ask your doctor for a ferritin level.
Ferritin level.
Ferritin level, because if your ferritin level is low, that is diagnostic of an iron deficiency anemia, regardless of what your red blood cells look like, regardless of what anything else look like. With a low ferritin, you can be diagnosed with an iron deficiency anemia. So write that down if you forget everything else from today.
Ferritin.
Remember that, ferritin.
Ferritin. I'm going to get my phone in the break and write it down. And Kelty, my darling, what were you saying?
That is exactly, hi doctor, that is exactly how I was diagnosed, is that someone finally tested, which is not on the regular panel, ferritin. My ferritin level was 5. It needs to be over 200 for you to be healthy. Lower than 12, they normally put you in the hospital. When that 5 came back, that was when the red alert started, and that's when I started getting help.
Listen, you are incredible. I'm telling you, I've loved you since the first day we met, and we've hit it off. I've been on the podcast, Lady Gang. We talk about all kinds of crazy things on their podcast. I never imagined that it would lead to you saving and helping so many lives. And if you don't believe me, take a look at some of the messages that people have wanted to share with Kelty since she came forward. Let's play it.
This is your hysterectomy sister coming from you from North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I saw your posting on Facebook, and it touched my heart because I know what you're going through. You're not alone. I, too, have been through this, and it is a very difficult struggle. The strength that you embody is amazing. Please keep telling your story and staying strong. Your story is all of our stories.
So that is just one of the many people who reached out when they learned you were going to come on the show. I adore you. Please stay strong. Keep telling and sharing this story. Thank you. Give it up for Kelty. Of course, you can watch her on E! News, as well as hear the Lady Gang podcast, E! News, Monday through Thursday. Check your local listing. Doctor, thank you so much for sharing. We will make sure we put that information up on our social media page. Thank you so much for their time today. We appreciate you coming up. She had nausea, brain fog, and knew something was very wrong. Spent years trying to find a doctor to get the answer. Find out what happened after the break.
My dry eyes made me a burning, stinging 5 times a day.
Makeup smearing, drops user.
I want another option. That's not another drop.
Tyrvaya. It's not another drop. It's the first and only nasal spray for dry eye. Tyrvaya treats the signs and symptoms of dry eye disease fast by helping your body produce its own real tears. Common side effects include sneezing, cough, and throat and nose irritation.
Relying only on drops? Not me. My own real tears are my relief.
Ask your eye doctor about Tyrvaya.
These new menu items at Panera are perfect 10s. They're also each under $10. More new sandwiches and salads, more in every bite, and more new options under $10. Come taste the new era at Panera and get a $0 delivery fee for a limited time.
Can Nariva support your brain health?
Mary, Janet, hey!
Eddie, no, Fraser, Frank. Frank?
Fred, how are you? Fred.
Fuel up to 7 brain health indicators, including your memory. Join the Nariva Brain Health Challenge.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch, blasted with Cinnadust. I was looking for some of the best anti-aging ingredients. And the great news, they're in here.
Revitalift Triple Power Moisturizer with pro-retinol, vitamin C, and hyaluronic acid. In just 1 week, it visibly reduces wrinkles, firms, and brightens skin. Revitalift Triple Power by L'Oreal Paris.
After I was injured by a truck driver, I had high medical bills and a ton of worries.
If you've been in an accident and suffered a serious injury, you need to get an attorney that will help you get what you deserve. There are thousands of big rig accidents every year in California. The attorneys at BD&J know how to tackle these challenging cases.
BD&J got a $28 million settlement for me. Now I can get back to my life.
Call BD&J today at 1-800-820-1111.
I think it's important that people get to know my sister.
Nicole is a nurturing, beautiful woman.
The one thing I could not protect her from was the monster she was married to.
One of the worst days I've ever experienced.
We are here to vindicate her. Don't get in our way.
The Life and Murder of Nicole Brown Simpson premieres Saturday, June 1st at 8. A limited commercial event, only on Lifetime.
The most important conversations of this season. We're talking to people who've experienced medical gaslighting, particularly women, and by the way, women of all ages. When our next guest was suffering with headaches, nausea, brain fog, and heavy bleeding during her periods, she knew something was seriously wrong. But Tamika Smith's doctor said she was wrong. Take a look.
In my late 20s, early 30s, I found myself having throbbing headaches throughout the day, throwing up, and not being able to think clearly. I was being advised by doctors saying your lab work is fine. One doctor said it was psychosomatic. One doctor told me that they didn't know what was going on. I often wondered, am I being medically gaslit, or are these symptoms really just in my head? I told another doctor that my mother had a history of endometriosis. The doctor stated to me that I was too young to have endometriosis. She was not hearing me. My mother encouraged me to go back to the doctor and demand a laparoscopy. And a few days later, the laparoscopy was conducted, and I had endometriosis, just like myself and my mother said from the beginning.
Please welcome Tamika Smith to our show. So, Tamika, you were in your early 30s at the time of this journey starting. For those who don't know, endometriosis is a condition where uterus tissue grows outside of the uterus. It can be painful. I have friends who suffer debilitating. They cannot work. It is the pain. How do you describe the worst of the pain?
It's indescribable at times. Indescribable. It's debilitating. You don't know what's really going on. It's unusual. It's an unusual feeling. It's agonizing. It is pain that you may start to feel like it is all in my head. Maybe I am making this up, to the point you can't get out of bed. I had to have my son to even assist me getting out of the bed many times. I didn't understand the pelvic pain, the nausea, the throwing up, the confusion, the brain fog, even times I didn't even know where I was.
I was so struck by several things on your journey to try to figure out what was wrong. But recently, Halle Berry, she took part in the Time 100 Health Panel where she talked about being misdiagnosed during perimenopause. She said doctors diagnosed her with herpes. You, during your journey, had multiple OBGYN doctors order STD tests.
Yes.
Why does the mind go straight to that?
It was excessive.
So you're in there with debilitating pain, and they say, let's do an STD test.
I believe strongly, status. I'm a single woman. I'm a black woman. I'm a young mom. I had my son at 17 years old. This can't be real. Maybe we need to just continuously test you for this STD and this STI.
Your mom is here in the audience, and I know. Thank you, Mom, Rita, for joining us. It was your mom who kept pushing for you to have a procedure, I can't even say it. I'm a terrible doctor here. Laparoscopy. What is that procedure?
A laparoscopy is when they take incisions, they go inside of your in your navel, and they start to operate, and they start to look for the adhesions and the scar tissues and the ovarian cysts, fibroids, and things of that sort.
And so you're diagnosed eventually. How long? Years of this? Years.
It can be a decade.
And to me, by the time you get to the diagnosis, I don't know if it's really, what does it feel like? Because oh my gosh, what you were going through.
You actually, for me, it's the stages of grief. The stages of grief.
Explain.
Feelings of just being angry, uncertain. Is it really true? That was most of my feelings. Is it really true? Is this real? But then I just got so angry and depressed. Anxiety, frustration, just the inability to want to get out of bed, to even pamper myself, to even look my best. I lost all of that.
And that's even after you'd received the diagnosis, because you'd just been worn down by this process. Tamika's sticking around. Next, we're going to meet a woman who started a firestorm on social media because of something called ovary gate. Multiple doctors insist she had ovarian cysts even after she told them her ovaries had been removed 10 years prior. We're talking about it after the break.
Tamron Hall, nominated for 3 Daytime Emmy Awards, including Outstanding Talk Series and Talk Series Host. Watch weekdays.
Coming up today at noon, from now until Labor Day is considered the 100 deadliest days for teen drivers, the warning from law enforcement for families. Plus, a horse statue that's been a fixture on one Yolo County road suddenly vanished. What happened? What's being done now to get it back? And as the wind increases, so does the risk of wildfire. How this year's fire season compares to seasons in the past. Join us today at noon.
Car accident, Berg wins. I'm not sure I can afford a lawyer. Berg wins.
What if the insurance company offers this, but my medical bills are this?
Berg wins. I need somebody to deal with the insurance company.
Berg wins.
I'm William Berg. When the insurance company tries to pay you less, we fight to win you more. And with our no-fee guarantee, if you don't win, you pay nothing.
My wife and I called.
My cousin called.
My mom called.
All right, I'm ready to call.
Are you?
Call 1-800-400-BERG.
Meet the future. A chef, a designer, and an engineer. All learning to save and spend their money with Chase. The chef's cooking up first with her new debit card.
Hungry?
Uh-huh. The designer's eyeing sequins, plaid. While mom is eyeing his spending. Nice. And the engineer? She's taking control with her own account for college. 3 futures, all with Chase. Freedom for kids, control for parents. One bank for both. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Forged in the fiery ovens of the Round Table, a feast fit for heroes. But only the truly worthy may claim the right to Excalibur's epic pizza.
Really?
Savor the heroic flavors of Round Table's new Excalibur's epic pizza. Our classic 3-cheese blend, abundantly topped with classic pepperoni, salami, ham, red onions, and sweet, tangy banana peppers. Truly, a pizza fit for a king. Order online at roundtablepizza.com.
After my car was hit by that van, I had so many injuries and medical bills.
If you've been in an accident and suffered a serious injury, you need to get an attorney that will help you get what you deserve. There are more than 180,000 auto accidents in California every year. Call BD&J. We've recovered over $1.5 billion for our clients.
BD&J won a $12.5 million settlement for me.
Call BD&J today at 1-800-820-1111.
Medical gaslighting. Our next guest, 43-year-old Amanda Bushelman, shared her experience of medical gaslighting on TikTok in 2023. She had no idea she was creating a viral movement of women around the world sharing stories of not being believed by their doctors. Take a look.
In today's episode of Doctors Should Believe Women, I went to the doctor 3 weeks ago with extreme right side abdominal pain. And my doctor sent me to the emergency room with suspected appendicitis. So I go to the emergency room. We do a CT and they're like, it's not appendicitis. It's a cyst on your ovary. They can be really painful. And I was like, oh, can they? Cool. I don't have any ovaries and I haven't had any for 10 years. And he's like, maybe you just had your uterus removed. And I was like, no. I was there the day they did it. They definitely took both of my ovaries. So I go home and then on Monday, I was like, this still hurts pretty bad. So I went back to the emergency room, saw a different doctor. They looked up my history because they didn't believe me that I didn't have any ovaries. Oh, okay. And so then he sees what he thinks is a cyst on my ovary is actually a tumor. So she took it out. Guess what? I had appendicitis the whole time.
That video, massively viral, viewed over 4.6 million times. Headlines around the world picked it up. It started the hashtag Ovarygate that opened the gates for other women to stitch and comment their own medical gaslighting stories. Please welcome Amanda Bushelman to the show. When you posted that video, you didn't know you were going to be contacted by people around the world.
No, ma'am, I didn't. I posted that for my 4 followers to see, and I woke up to a lot more than 4.
Right.
And national news.
National news.
Yes.
When you went to the first ER doctor, they wrote in your chart that you were anxiously presenting.
Yes.
What does that mean?
It's the new way for doctors to call women hysterical.
They wrote it in your chart?
It's in my chart. I even tried to have it removed because when in future appointments, when I go to the emergency room, if they go through my history, it's going to show that I showed up to the emergency room twice and I was super anxious, which could potentially cause doctors to not believe me further. And they refused to remove it.
Wow. You know, first of all, why can't you control what's in your medical record? You can't say take something out?
I wish I knew.
I'm going to find out. I need answers. That's my record. 10 years prior to going into you had a hysterectomy and an oophorectomy.
I did. For treatment of endometriosis.
Endometriosis.
Oh, wow. That took me 10 years to get a diagnosis for.
So you knew you had your ovaries removed.
It's the only treatment. It's the only surefire way to get rid of it.
And the person in front of you is, you used the word mansplaining.
He was mansplaining that he actually turned the imaging around and said, this is an ovary. And I'm like, but it isn't. It definitely isn't, though. And he said, I think you may have just had your uterus removed. And that's when I said, no, I was there. I was there. Wow. And they took it all because that's the only treatment for endometriosis.
I don't know how to feel about the next point. The doctor apologized. Is that the point? Did they say they didn't apologize to you?
No, they didn't apologize to me at all.
I thought they apologized.
No, they absolutely didn't. They refused to take any kind of responsibility at all.
Wow. Tamika, your doctor apologized.
Did not apologize.
Did not either?
No.
What?
No.
Okay, so when you go back in and see them, you're like, hey, you were wrong. What happened?
Well, for me, I definitely received my very expensive bill for all of the, things that they did while I was there that didn't get me any closer to being helped. But they refused any responsibility at all.
Tamika, they didn't apologize to you, but they apologized to your mom.
That's correct.
Why do you think not to you?
I have no idea.
Right.
I have no idea. No eye contact either.
No eye contact.
When I went to the follow-up appointment, no eye contact.
I'm rarely speechless at this point, but I understand, as I said, by so many people reaching out to us saying, got to do this show again. This is me. This is my life. For you, you have said something I feel is so worth reminding. Your health is wealth.
It's wealth. Yes.
And that's a part of what you want people to understand.
Without your health, you're nothing.
Without your health, you are nothing. Yes. Coming up, we're talking more about it. How to advocate for yourself. And a woman's traumatic childbirth experience inspired her to create a Yelp-like app, helping women avoid the kind of doctors who dismiss, belittle, and gaslight women. It's this app that we can all go on. I'll tell you what inspired it after the break. On the next Tamron Hall, a daytime exclusive, Tina Campbell. She's a 4-time Grammy Award-winning gospel superstar. She performs her new solo single. Then, Chef Danielle Ballou joins the Tam Fam. Next Tamron Hall, tomorrow.
I was drowning in debt.
I had over $36,000 in debt. If I would have just made the minimum payments, it would have taken me 59 years to pay off.
National Debt Relief can significantly reduce the amount you owe.
National Debt Relief reduced my debt by over $27,000.
With National Debt Relief, you have a powerful team that knows how to talk to your creditors.
National Debt Relief, they got me out of debt. Call or visit nationaldebtrelief.com to get started.
Life, diabetes, there's no slowing down. Each day is a unique blend of people to see and things to do. That's why you choose Glucerna to help manage blood sugar response. Uniquely designed with Carb Steady. Glucerna, bring on the day.
Lowe's knows new projects come with questions, so we have answers. Like how to keep your yard looking lush. Which paint color matches your bold style. And with the My Lowe's Rewards credit card, you can save 5% every day. You got this, and we got you.
Don't know how much. The amount of training, the sacrifice.
We can face insurmountable challenges.
I won last year, and I'm here to win again.
American Ninja Warrior, Monday on NBC and Peacock. The Olympic Games are coming. But first, the best American athletes have to make Team USA. The U.S. Olympic Team Trials on NBC and Peacock.
After my car was hit by that van, I had so many injuries and medical bills.
If you've been in an accident and suffered a serious injury, you need to get an attorney that will help you get what you deserve. There are more than 180,000 auto accidents in California every year. Call BD&J. We've recovered over $1.5 billion for our clients.
BD&J won a $12.5 million settlement for me.
Call BD&J today at 1-800-820-1111.
Oh, no worries. No, it's all right. It's all right.
That was Roy Choi. He's like the godfather of modern food trucks. His Kogi sauce, we were the first to carry it. He comes here all the time for our meat and produce, but honestly, I think what he really gets a kick out of is seeing how high he can stack those club-sized boxes.
Go big or go home. Stack like you mean it. Smart and final. Where else?
NBC Nightly News, brought to you locally on KCRA by Golden One Credit Union.
From inside Iran, from Israel, from Florida. Part of our continued reporting.
It is safe. Everybody good?
Women, children.
NBC Nightly News, brought to you locally on KCRA by Golden One Credit Union.
Welcome back. So I want to roll off some stats to you here. This is not to frighten you. This is to have you feel empowered, because knowledge is power. Here we go. One study published in the Academic Emergency Medicine found that women who went to the ER with severe stomach pain were 13 to 25% less likely to receive pain medication compared to men with the same symptoms. The Journal of the American Heart Association reported women who go to the ER with chest pain wait 29% longer than men to be evaluated for possible heart attacks. Those are the stats that we're talking about that caused this medical gaslighting epidemic. And still with us, Tamika Smith, Amanda Bushelman have been sharing their experiences with medical gaslighting. Also joining us now is Kimberly Seals-Allers. Kimberly is an author, podcast host, former senior editor of Essence magazine. And during the birth, yes, give it up for Essence. It's iconic. So here's the deal. During the birth of her first child in 2000, Kimberly was left feeling what she describes as disrespected, traumatized, and gaslit. She says she was given a C-section that felt rushed and unnecessary. Wow. Years later, that negative experience led her to create an app called Earth, which is a place for Black and brown women to share and rate their experiences with hospitals and physicians during pregnancy and childbirth in the hope of eliminating discrimination. Please welcome Kimberly to the show. You took power into your own hands, much like going on TikTok. These are all tools to help women become their own advocate. We were talking about why your medical records can't be changed by you, and you had information on that.
Well, I think one of the things that's really important is noting that particularly there's a lot of bias even in medical records, right, where people are having, particularly Black people have more notations about being non-compliant, negative notes about their participation in these appointments. So it really runs like the spectrum of what we consider gaslighting to also experiences of bias, whether that's based on gender or race, ethnicity, what we see in our app, and even around language proficiency or education or class.
What does Earth stand for, your app?
So Earth is like the word birth, but we dropped the B for bias, so it's IRTH. So we're all about taking the bias out of the birth experience, because what we're hearing in these stories is actually heightened during a very vulnerable time of pregnancy and childbirth, and we know that Black women are disproportionately dying in our country during this time when they're simply trying to bring life into the world.
You know, and we've talked about that on the show. Tanya Lewis-Lee, a friend, her documentary is so powerful. And we've spoke with other men who lost their spouses during childbirth. Think about, we live in the most powerful country in the world, and there are women who die giving birth in this country. And so you've taken the power. Your son Michael is 19.
He's 19 now, yes.
He's 19 years old, but your C-section inspired this with him.
Yeah, and I think, you know, I've had two C-sections that I still can't fully explain. But with my first birth with Kayla, I did all the research. I read all the reviews. I read all those best of lists that are put out by media entities, thinking I was going to a highly rated hospital in my city. But I had a completely different experience. Everything that I read was a standard practice of care I had to fight for. And again, in addition to the C-section, on the other side of it, having to fight to have my baby with me, having my baby given formula against my wishes when I said I was going to be breastfeeding. It was just one thing after another.
So how does the app work?
So basically, you can do several things. On the front end, you can leave reviews. You come in, you create an account. You can search reviews to see what other people are saying. And the thing about Earth that's so powerful, on the back end, we turn these reviews into data, powerful patient experience data. So now we're working with hospitals in 6 states, creating improvement plans, helping them literally improve their care by listening to Black and brown women and birthing people.
So we download the app, and we can put in what type of doctor we're looking for. Does it run the gamut?
Well, it's for OBGYNs, birthing hospitals, and pediatricians.
Wow.
So we're really focused on this very critical time of pregnancy, childbirth, and that first year of parenting.
This is phenomenal.
Thank you.
This is phenomenal. It's a game changer. Yeah. I mean, you know, each of you in your own way are speaking up about this. I know that the doctors did not apologize to you personally. My amazing stage manager said that's probably for liability reasons. But you have not been silenced. Does it feel empowering at this point?
For me, it absolutely does. This is a community I never expected to belong to, with several thousand women commenting similar shared experiences. But I feel like the most important thing I can do with my voice is to encourage the next generation and to encourage my daughters. You know your body. You've been in your body forever. They've known you for 5 minutes.
They've known you for 5 minutes. Thank you all. I love this app. We're going to put it up on our social media. Tamika, thank you. And you're a beautiful mom. Amanda, Kimberly. Keep the conversation going. Coming up, how do you know if you're being medically gaslit? What you can do. We have two top doctors giving advice on how to speak up and advocate for yourself and for your loved ones. We'll be right back.
I have moderate to severe Crohn's disease. Now there's Skyrizi. Things are looking up. I've got symptom relief. Control of my Crohn's means everything to me. Control is everything to me. Feel significant symptom relief at 4 weeks with Skyrizi, including less abdominal pain and fewer bowel movements. Skyrizi is the first IL-23 inhibitor that can deliver remission and visibly improve damage of the intestinal lining. And the majority of people experienced long-lasting remission at 1 year.
Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, had a vaccine, or plan to. Liver problems may occur in Crohn's disease.
Now's the time to ask your gastroenterologist how you can take control of your Crohn's with Skyrizi. Learn how AbbVie could help you save.
Looking for a smarter way to mop? Try the Swiffer Power Mop. An all-in-one cleaning tool with a 360-degree swivel head that goes places a regular mop just can't. Mop smarter with the Swiffer Power Mop.
You are bountiful. Your skeleton can support 2 times your weight. It's in your nature to stand strong. Supplement your bones with high-absorption magnesium. Nature's bounty. It's in your nature.
Lawyers, we offer our clients the no-fee guarantee. We'll fight for the money you deserve. And if you don't win, you pay nothing. Get Berg.
Wherever you go, no, you're not alone. Just call my name, I'll be your home. Whatever you feel, I want to feel.
It's Empire Today's biggest sale, the 50-50-50 sale. 50% off carpet and flooring, 50% off padding and materials, and 50% off installation.
800-588-2300 Empire.
Today. At the Tamron Law Firm, our results speak for themselves. Call the law firm that gets results. The Tamron Law Firm can help.
Join the mix with the KCRA 3 News app, available for free in your app store now.
I recently had the misfortune of being gaslit myself and seeing a family member gaslit in a medical setting. And I absolutely have gained a whole new perspective and empathy for patients who have had this horrible self-doubt, questioning of their sanity.
That video was Dr. Anthony Cave on his experience with medical gaslighting. He's one of our next guests, both doctors on a mission to help stop gaslighting from within the medical community. Dr. Cave is an anesthesiologist and integrative medicine specialist who shares his tips on YouTube. His 4 Tricks When Doctors Gaslight You video has been viewed over 1 million times. Also with his board-certified family medicine physician and associate professor at Rowan University, Dr. Jen Caudle's medical TikTok content has 3 million likes. He covers everything. Cases of medical gaslighting for her followers for years. Please welcome them to the show. Thank you both for joining us. So I always say this. Listen, we know and believe most people in the medical profession are listeners. Hopefully, they're doing the right thing. I know that universities have even switch some of their teaching to make doctors more sensitive to where we are right now. That said, we had 5 people on today who experienced horror stories. What's at the heart of this problem?
I think there's a lot of things at the heart of this. And you're right, as an associate professor at Rowan University, we are teaching medical students, and many medical schools are teaching medical students to listen, be empathetic, etc. But I think there are a lot of things at the heart of this. The bottom line, though, is that it's never okay. And I think that's one of the things I want women and men to know, is that it is never okay. Listen to your body, trust your gut, and you know what? Regardless of whether the doctor is having a bad day, just chooses not to treat you right, has biases, whatever, it's not okay. So there are things that we can do about it. I know we're going to be talking about different suggestions and solutions, but no, medical gaslighting, I'm so glad we're talking about it.
Dr. Anthony, you have the 4 tricks for when doctors gaslight you. I need some tricks of the trade. What do we do?
Gonna take notes on?
Yeah, I'm ready, because I think we've all experienced it. I told you, I've experienced it. I have to advocate for my mom goes to the doctor. I say to her, I need you to turn your phone on. And I'm sitting right there, and she's like, my daughter's on the phone. She's listening. I'm like, right here. Yes, I am. Hi, doctor. Because I want to hear. You say, have a conversation while dressed.
Absolutely. You don't want your bottom, flapping in the breeze there wearing a gown.
No.
All gaslighting is a power differential and a trust that can be betrayed. You have to have accountability for that trust. And you want to reduce a power differential if it's not a worthwhile or productive power differential.
Right, because you're sitting there in your gown and you're thinking, okay, I'm just going to get dressed when they leave. Because oftentimes, you know, the doctor will come in and you're on the table, ladies, the table, and you're in your gown, not thinking that's a power dynamic.
That's true. That's true.
All right, so you say bring someone with you. And if you can't bring someone with you, like we do, I'm on FaceTime with my mom. What better way to spend my minutes?
I do the same thing with my parents.
It's harder to gaslight 2 people than 1. Right.
And if I could jump in, it's also harder to gaslight when you have an advocate as a patient. And I don't know if that was your next suggestion, but one thing I suggest patients do is to bring, like, if you can't have someone speak, you bring somebody with you. You bring a couple of people who can also help chime in.
And even if a doctor's offended by you having a
They shouldn't be.
Oh. I heard that. You shouldn't be, right?
do you agree? We're doctors.
Never been offended.
And if your doctor is offended by you having people in the room, then you definitely need a different doctor.
Dr. Anthony.
Red flag number 1.
Yes, huge red flag, right?
We talked a lot about, obviously, from the female perspective, because the numbers show that women experience this at a higher rate and higher number, but you've experienced it yourself. What's your hope here? Like a conversation like this is a whole hour. People don't do this. I'm patting my team on the back because daytime TV, people don't often do this anymore. And it's important because people call us and ask for the show. What is at the heart of what you want to accomplish here?
Well, it's not just women. Individuals of color. If you have a disability, if you don't speak English as your primary language, if you have chronic pain, these conditions that you can't prove with a blood test. Right, migraines, chronic pain, so much of what, the fatigue, the brain fog. There's no blood test for this. So it's easy to blow those off. And if you're walking away from your doctor's visit, right, tell me what you think, but if you're walking away more confused than when you walked in, or you don't have a clear plan for what to expect, that's not right by you.
Listen, we're going to keep the conversation going. Dr. Anthony, Dr. Jen, go to our social media for more information on how you can avoid this and empower yourself. We'll be right back. Thank you.